Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Cowboy Bebop. Last time on Cowboy Bebop we had Pierrot Le Fou, I think. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that anymore. I knew, but now I don't. Anyway, there was a psychotic cross between the Joker and the Penguin that was murdering people. Spike happened to walk in on one of his murders and then he wanted to kill Spike. Eventually, he got Spike to go to a amusement park, Spaceland, and they had their epic final battle, and in the end, the guy died and Spike won. And that was it. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this session of Cowboy Bebop. Here we go. Okay, oh boy, that's... Oh, okay. That was interesting. This one got... I will say, for an episode where I was like, I was sort of sitting here like, oh, how much is there to talk about? What are we gonna... was there really much in that episode? There was some stuff in there that was interesting, like the concept of Feng Shui, Now the whole thing, I mean, because me, I'll watch these episodes and I'll be like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know, but this one is interesting because I mean, I feel like there's more of a theme here, Like last episode, I don't know what the hell the theme was supposed to be. Don't get in the middle of a insane clown man murdering people. I don't know. But this one, you definitely get the themes, And I remember I saw one time that the whole point of what we're doing here, is not, we're not just here to do one-off random nonsense. Is that this show is basically about moving on from your past. And you do definitely see that with the main characters. Granted, maybe not Ed, but with Spike, with Jet, with Faye, you definitely see that it's how they move past their past, And it is how that affects them going forward, but it's not a thing of like, how does that affect, this great hero or a tragic villain or just a tragic character? I do like how this is almost like, no, there's no like clear future, we just sort of go on, and every person's got his past, and let's see how they deal with whatever new situation, and sometimes that is more, I would say, explicit than others. Again, you get episodes like last episode or some of the other episodes where it's like, okay, this has nothing to do with any of that, But this one a bit more. And it's interesting because it's like, what, the third or fourth video on Jet's past that we've had, And this, honestly, you could almost say this isn't even about Jet, It's more about Meifa. I think that was her name. I'm just going to say Meifa, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So this one was more about Meifa and Pow, which obviously does seem very obvious. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting that this wasn't, you go on this whole, like, what almost feels like this Indiana Jones quest, and we're trying to figure out, like, okay, what is this all leading to? And honestly, it's just leading to his death and his daughter getting to say goodbye to him, And that is interesting, because you almost think, like, well, nothing really happened. But in a sense, it's basically just that, where everybody thought that he died, he survived, but he was in such a terrible place that, like, he was going to die anyway, He was going to die anyway, but the situation that he was put in, he was just allowed, a few more days, And I like that. That's an interesting idea, and yeah, we go on this whole, like, what feels like this Indiana Jones side quests, but it's really just because, yeah, he has the opportunity to say goodbye. So he knows that Jet will... He sends the message to Jet because he knows Jet will be able to get her there. You know, Jet will protect Meifa in order to get to that spot, you know? So that's an interesting idea, you know? And this is all for a daughter that he abandoned too, which is an interesting thing. He abandoned her, and you know, as she said, she hated him for it, but now she doesn't. And now she has this closure, you know? She has this closure. They both honestly have that closure. So yeah, when you really stop and think about it, it's like, oh, well, nothing happened. It's like, well, a man and his daughter were given the chance to find closure, you know? So that was good. But yeah, everything with the feng shui and reading the qi and everything, and the difference between that and fortune telling, I thought was pretty interesting. And yeah, because it is different, you know, even though Pow is he was part of the syndicate, you know, this all-encompassing syndicate we keep, which I can never get a lock on. Is the syndicate the same one that Vicious is a part of? I think it is, because I don't think there would be two syndicates. I mean, maybe there are, but yeah. So that's really interesting stuff. But yeah, just reading, despite that you know, the thing that we hear about in a lot of episodes, just that interesting sort of you know, philosophy on everything. You know, there's the three types of chi, from the heaven, the earth, and the body. You know, which, you know, you could almost say is, you know, it's very similar to like the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But it's just in a very different way. And so that is really interesting. But then, you know, at the end, it's like, oh, you use the feng shui, you know, to bring us here to your will. But then he says, but no, we are here because I have brought Meifa, you know? So yeah, I mean, it's exactly the same thing. You know, it's kind of what Jet said of like, you know, I could have blown this off. I could have just, you know, I didn't know Pow anything. I don't know her anything, but I did it anyway, you know? And that's not really because, oh, some, you know, his will forced me to. It's that he chose to do that, you know? And some of that is interesting. Now, everything with the Sunstone and that being, you know, part of the destroyed moon over Earth was pretty cool. And that being a beacon to the force field where he ended up, that was all very interesting. I like that. And then, you know, just some, you know, your sort of standard villains being the Syndicate. But still, it did work out. But yeah, but honestly, I do kind of like that whole idea that it's like, this wasn't, you know, because again, it feels like some sort of Indiana Jones thing. Like, oh, we're going on this like big adventure. We got to figure out what the artifact is telling us. But then they realize that no, they just need to... All this is for them to get closure, and they do, you know? And at first it's like, oh, well, you know, Pow, he got us to go to this place using his will and the feng shui and everything. It's like, well, no, it's just that he knew the right person to send for, you know? He sent that email to Jet because Jet would, you know, get her there safely, and he did, you know? So yeah, honestly, you know, you can sort of take it, is feng shui real? Is it not real? You know, you can sort of go back and forth on that, but it is a very interesting concept that is brought up in here. So yeah, and then just at the end, just the fact that it's just closure. The two of them got closure, and now they can move on. They can move on with their lives after this, you know. And again, like I said, you know, the whole thing of like, well, you know, this is all about, you know, getting over your past, and that is apparent, not just with Meifa and Pow, but Jet and Faye and Spike. And then, just at the end of the episode, it's exactly what happens at the end of every episode. Life carries on the exact same way it did, you know? So that was interesting. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully this wasn't too short of a discussion. I can see we're not too deep into it. But But I really enjoyed this. This was a good one. A bit confusing. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what the hell we're doing, you know. But this one, you know, we wrapped all around, and it worked out pretty well. So yeah, that is pretty much it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist for all of my Cowboy Bebop reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.